I'm going to tell you just a little bit about this young, vibrant, exciting speaker that we have here with us this evening. When she walks into a room, the room lights up. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And we have to admit, she is a consummate politician. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Alicia Chucky Hansen was born to Martin Pickering and Medora Paulus Williams. She went on after high school and attending the university in Puerto Rico, Inter-American University. She came back and trained with the Virgin Islands Police Academy and the University of the Virgin Islands, where she received training in criminal law and paralegal studies. Prior to her first elected term, this is the 17th legislature, she worked as a legal researcher and translator for the Attorney General's office and counselor at the Department of Social Welfare, known to us now as the Department of Human Services. In the 18th and 19th legislature, she held the position of Secretary of Intergovernmental Relations and Territorial Affairs. In the 20th, she served Education, Health, Housing, Parks, and Recreation Committees. The 21st, she chaired the powerful Finance Committee. She also chaired that committee again in the 24th, and at that time, she delivered 4 fiscal years' budget on time with new revenue-generating measures and without further taxing the people of these United States Virgin Islands. In the 29th legislature, after an 8-year term where she had retired, very short retirement for 8 years, and after constant bombardment from the public asking her for representation, she decided to come back and served again in the 29th. And believe it or not, her gift coming back was being the highest vote getter once she came back on the scene, and that was awesome. In the 29th, she again served on the Committee on Government Operations and Veterans Affairs. She used that position. We all saw her rocking the boat with the LIAC and the WAPA and brought a lot of that to the forefront for us. At the end of this term, which is the 30th, she would complete, God spare life, 20 years, putting her in yet another achievement category. Not too many people can say they've served 20 years in the legislature. I looked at some of the things that Senator Hansen has in her bio, and what it doesn't says, you know, we talked about some of her famous phrases, and the one that I think is missing is, "I'm proud to be an American." Please put that in for me. I was not surprised at all when she took on the junior ROTC issue that they had, nor was I surprised when she started to tackle the post-exchange issue, because on Veterans Day and Memorial Day, you see her standing in her American Legion Auxiliary, Women's Auxiliary uniform, and I thank you too for your service. So ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome to the podium Senator Alicia Chucky Hansen.
You know, when I got the call to my office, I don't know if you're aware, but I only have 1 staff right now, and then hopefully by March we will have it fully equipped. And the one sole person that I have called me and said, Hansen, I can't wait till you get to the office. I need you to know that Mr. Clifford Christian called, and because it is so much work and so much things that I have to take care of, I wanted to make things short, right? So as soon as she said Clifford Christian called, I said, okay, let's put aside $100 for the bingo game. And she said, no, that's not what he called about. She called for you to be the keynote speaker at Rotary. Greetings, Rotarians, greetings, guests tonight. It is for me an honor to participate here this evening. And I'm so proud to have at my left a woman president, Ms. Lauren. And of course, Ms. Crook, who actually hosted me into insisting that I have dinner, since all I had was breakfast early this morning at UVI for the Man Up program, which I think was very successful. And of course, we have our guests here at the head table. Yeah, your Sergeant of Arms. My goodness, I'm well protected. And my bio was written by who? I knew there was something about Deborah here tonight when I listened to her. You are really a supporter of Chucky Hansen. And I thank you for your observation and your appreciation for my work. I really thank you. And you are a woman. That's why Rotary running so well. No offense to a great man, our past governor, I believe is Mr. Rupert Ross. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's right, district. Just stand up for us and let's recognize him. Much respect, okay? This morning I start up with UVI, I believe somewhere around 7:30 this morning. We had breakfast and so forth, and then we went into the Man Up program, a fantastic program sponsored by the University of the Virgin Islands for the purpose of actually helping build character in our young men. And this evening my daughter said, Mom, I think we need a Woman Up program. I said, Elizabeth, I can't take on nothing else. But she said, Ma, I'll do it. We need it. And don't you agree that we also need a Woman Up? Great. But it seems like it's coming. The United States Virgin Islands is so unique. And I've been privileged to visit many places and even being born somewhere else. My mother being born on St. Croix, and all of her parents, a mother and father side, from St. Croix. And somehow some people forget that. I don't push it too much until I have to. When I'm told I have to leave Fredericksted alone and don't get into the business of St. Croix and so forth. Let me tell you something, okay? Nobody is running me out of St. Croix. I'm here by choice. My father was born in the British Virgin Islands. Somehow we forget that we came from some place and we had nothing to do with it. And that people plan over the years how and where they're going to have their children. There are many people that do that. They have taken plane to have their child in New York, or Miami, Puerto Rico, somewhere else. And somehow God turned them back, make something happen so that they can be born right here on St. Croix. Or vice versa. Because only God decides where we are to be born. Even when we plan it. And I said this as a foundation to have us recognize that those of us that are here by choice and those of us that are born and decide not to go anywhere. My mother was born here and she didn't want to be buried on St. Croix. Left up to her, she would have been buried in Puerto Rico. Left up to my aunt and Mr. Christian, you know that very well, you know them good. Only Medora stayed back here and buried here in Fredericksted. That's my aunt. Her other sister, Gertrude, chose New York when everybody left the Virgin Islands for a better way of living. So when we remain here, and the only thing that's going to change and make this place better is if we leave and put aside the issues about where we were born and think on how we can build these Virgin Islands, especially St. Croix. There is and it can be built, and problems can and shall be resolved. We only have to believe, have faith, and do our part into making it a better place. But certainly we have to have some leadership. Leadership that counts, leadership with courage in what it takes to build a home. This is my home. This is your home. I don't want to be buried anywhere else. Not even the Virgin Islands, but only on St. Croix. So when we decide this is our home, what are we going to do about it? We hear about problems. Where are the solutions? And some of us as elected officials have the tendency to believe that only unless we are elected by the people, we have all the answers. We are not to talk to people. Well, you know, my success is by listening to people. It didn't all come from me originally. It's by hearing it here, and when I move to my right, I heard the same thing again. And I go west, and I heard it again. I said, God will have some validity to this. So you investigate it. You make the next step in attempting to legislate it. Yes. And you have to know to compromise in order to accomplish and reach your goals on behalf of the people. Yes. So when we speak of problems, I married a Crucian, okay? I like to say that because I always try to find my place on St. Croix. I'm here for 40 odd years, and some people still feel I'm not a Crucian. So I married a Crucian, Estelle Hansen. And he always had a way that whenever something happened, and we're together 40 years, and he still told me this as recent as last week. And that is, some people call this island St. Croix, but this is Santa Cula. And I'm hearing that for about 40 years. This is Santa Cula. When anybody come here and think they can control and push people around, St. Croix will cool you down. And that reminds me of Mr. Jeff Nelson at the Juan Louis Hospital, who had the courage to come here and on a blink of an eye, some dream he has, he decided to fire 85 of our people. And you notice I said our people, they give them title PNCNAs. Those are our people. Wow. And when he made that decision to get rid of our people, he actually destroyed homes, lives, and the economy of St. Croix. That's nothing simple. Not because it may not have touched your home personally. Today for me, tomorrow for you. And even those are retired. You have children, you have grandchildren, and that's not the way you want to have your government operate. And let me remind you, Juan Louis Hospital is part of our government. It is ours, not because it's semi-autonomous. Juan Louis Hospital is ours. Right now we have about $8 million spent at hospitals across the nation. $8 million alone was spent this past year by Cigna for patients from the Virgin Islands in Florida. Another $8 million for patients from the Virgin Islands in New York. And I don't have the numbers for Atlanta, where many people go to, or Philadelphia. And don't talk about next door, Puerto Rico. So we have to fix our hospital conducive to bringing back faith and trust in our hospital. It's our only hospital. And we cannot allow one person to destroy, carry out their agenda to close down our hospital. And he was not playing like he will close it down. He even told the Senate, of course I was absent, I was not a member of that committee. You would have heard a lot more if I was there. He said it. I will close down the Juan Luis Hospital. He met our hospital. Yeah. He met those people that, I'm sure many of you still remember Hugo, that carry soldiers' clothing on their backs to wash by hand. Patients in what you call pati. And buckets, using buckets because we didn't have, the hospital was destroyed. Our people built it up. Yeah. And they belong. They earned the right to be part of our hospital. And if we want them to go further to have their education, then there's a way to do it. The way to do it is that you give them the opportunity, the hours and some compensation that is done all over America to go to school, even if it's mandatory. While they get some level of compensation, they work, set time, hours, they can't work shift and still go back to college. They still have mortgages to pay, rent to pay, children to take care of. And many of them do want to return, but they can't return under his way of returning them back to school by simply saying, go back, you're not in, you get out. No. So I bring this to you because we need community support to understand this is our hospital. Today I had a meeting for a couple hours with the interim CEO for the hospital, Dr. Griffin. And I went to instill in him that he return our nurses. It didn't take much convincing. Whoa. I'm happy to report to you tonight that Dr. Griffin is on the same road of thoughts to bring back our nurses to our Juan Luis Hospital. And very soon. Very soon. So I asked him, okay, you answer me, I hope it was not just to satisfy me. Where you can get the money from? I'm sure some of you thinking, well, where the money gonna come from? Well, it is a management style. And he immediately responded, there are ways in certain areas. I'm gonna correct that. We're gonna use, because we need them. And that's when you have your own people who understand your culture, understand your community, and love this place, they will find a way. Because they know your mother, they know your sister, they know your grandparent, and they're sensitive to your life and your hurt. You'll find a way. So I want to encourage you. Since this Saturday he has a program to clean up and spruce up our hospital. If you have an hour or 5 hours, give it to Juan Luis Hospital. I intend to be there. Our hospital needs to look like hospitals across the nation. And more people and local people will go to our hospital. The doctor's name should be on the walls of our hospitals. Let us be proud of who they are and what they can do for us. Let us feel their commitment. and that will help generate more funds. I enjoyed when I asked, last week I submitted a bill to name the Fredericksted bypass after President Barack Obama drive. And it was announced and I had a good laugh. And when I'm ready to laugh, Miss Abbott know I could laugh. This reaction, well, it should be named this, and it should be named that. You heard it? That sounds sweet, boy. Okay, when they were sleeping, there was so many years of the bypass being built. No one thought that it needed a name. Until I got up and I said, you know what? Let's name it the President Barack Obama Drive. He is history. And although all these names can be brought into play, my name, general name, Gallo, Miss Abbott, Miss Lawrence, Mr. Ross, very deserving. Very deserving. But none of these names, even if you put all those names together, you have to have vision. Will not have these people jump on a plane to come to the Virgin Islands just to drive on the Barack Obama Drive. You have to have vision beyond our noses. Did you see the inauguration? You saw the parade for Barack Obama? He went across to touch nobody, just jumped out the car before he came out the car. People were screaming, fainting. Michelle, Obama. We are so different here in the Virgin Islands. We here in the Virgin Islands. You remember when Michael Jackson came? They had all these places locked down with all these security and so forth. We don't go around following these people and fainting away when we see dignitaries. You remember that? They even locked us down there at Buccaneer Hotel. The point I'm making is there are some people though who will faint just by hearing his name. They even gotta see him. And there are millions, not hundreds, there are millions of people who will faint over Barack Obama. People barely touch him, they pass out. They are in their place and don't touch him, and they pass out. So my vision is, if you have something named by a well-deserving person that has made history, to make us all proud. Because if we don't do it now, 20 years later, somebody's going to come up with the same idea about naming something after President Barack Obama. Why we can't be the first? And then we add it to the history across the nation that St. Croix again, just like with Martin Luther King, were the first to honor such great accomplishments. To make all our young people happy. Have built a character and let them know if Barack Obama could do it as a black man, president. I never believed that in my lifetime. I never thought. And I look young. But I ain't that young. I ain't no spring chicken. Never thought, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way, that a black man will become president of a nation that I love so much and respect, but I know it has its faults. And it continues to have its faults. But she's still the best nation in the world. And then our people fight our wars. Highest per capita. And they come back the same way like any other soldier throughout the states. They lose limbs, become blind, they lose their life. Some of them come stone crazy. Break it down to you. Crazy like a bat. And we can't deal with their mental illness. And we don't even want to stop to think where it came from. So the little bit that you got, like the PX, wow. How can we just close it down with a blink of an eye? And no one must stand up against this. Well, I've written to the top commander. I got in trouble again. Every time I write these letters, I get in more trouble. Somebody feel I'm embarrassing them, or I'm embarrassing their position, or their title, or something. But I do it anyway. Because somebody got to do it. So it don't happen again. And so that it can be reopened. So that all these military men and women, their families, can have some degree of advantage, like any other soldier, military men and women throughout the nation. Is that wrong? Or what they did was wrong? Is that what you responded?
What they did was wrong.
Oh my goodness. So people, we can move on with this economy that is hurting, and it's not going to get better unless we get rid of that LEAC. That was another sleeping issue. I could imagine, I mean, you used to have 6 and 8 increases per year before my return. When I took it to court, it took so long in court, the issue, they held back all those move for increase. It stabilized it for a while. Did it get resolved completely? No. We can't have to continue to fight. But I can tell you one thing, it could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. Hess left us, left our people stranded. We all want to say how great Hess was, how Vensa Pedevesa. They did good. And they also did some harm. Some people can tell you how great they were to the Virgin Islands, but too afraid to say that they also hurt us. Yeah. They were good, they helped us, and we helped them too. Yeah. We gained from them, and they also gained from us. So when they left us with very little notice, I think we were very wrong. And then when I also brought up to your attention that they were building 3 plants in China, some people started to whisper, what's she talking about? But then the same consultants came out and were saying the same thing that I had already said 9 months prior to, things that I have written in the courts. And now because the governor's consultant is saying it, now it is a fact. I gave the governor the power through my legislation to remove all gross receipt taxes from any company that comes to negotiate on energy issues. That's what they said they will need to negotiate with any new energy alternative. Did you hear anything about that in any of the speeches? I was a sponsor. How can you be creative and not be recognized for it? You think that stops? I continue. It is over and over and over. If you're looking for recognition from your people, you will never do anything. And I must say, people do recognize my work. That's why they continue to elect me. And they elect me big. We think that they don't know. People recognize it. Look at this young woman. Please stand up. You know, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know Okay, good. Thank you. A lot of people are not aware that I have a soft spot too. Okay? And when you began to give your own words on the biography of my accomplishment in such a short period of time, I'm about to let tears go, okay? My husband will say I got water to waste. But I don't think so. I am proud when I see tears coming down from the president's eyes, because that tells me, yeah, I'm not in the wrong path. If you can't feel it, then how can you really believe it? Right. And how can you feel other people's pain if you can't even feel your own? Right. So I thank you. I love you. And I wish you prosperity. I was told I had 10 more minutes. So I think by talking about you, I spent 2 minutes. So I got 8, but I'm not going to use all 8. I want to say that, in closing, I don't want to bore you, but I see I got your attention very good. That we can, in fact, have jointly put our heads together in the 29th legislature. We never, ever sat. That's the sad part. I'm revealing it tonight. Never, ever sat as 15 senators to say, let's see, not even the majority, to say, how can we resolve the problems of the Virgin Islands? And stay in that room until we come up with suggestions on how to do it. Sad. And I pray that in the 30th legislature, don't be like that. But it is a trend. It is a trend. And when you ask for it, they think you're disgusting. When you say no, the people can't take no more. They can't take no more. When you cut 5%, you're cutting 5% out of our economy. There are alternative ways. Let's bring more cruise ships. Let's give them incentives, simple common sense things. You don't have to take rocket science to really turn things around. Simple things like, the price is right again. They give away packages to Jamaica, to Aruba, Puerto Rico. You always see San Juan. We can't do that. Millions of people are looking simultaneously at the prices right. Simple things like that. Then it looks so beautiful, the beaches, the sand, the people, so exciting. And people start dialing up to make reservations. You think so? You agree, right? Simple things, and we don't do it. Thank you very much. God bless you. And I hope that jointly together, we don't forget that this is the home we love, the home we want to build, the home we respect. And our young people that we are losing every day, if we don't give them the foundation that they deserve, we're going to lose them. We're going to either lose them to prison, lose them to the grave, but we have an alternative. We can win them in a positive way. We have to provide them strong foundations, art, music, sport, and they will stimulate into academics. Mr. Christian knows that. And therefore, with that, I leave you with God's blessing. I thank you, I appreciate you, and God bless you. And God bless this great nation, and may the Rotary Club continue to be successful. Thank you very much.